Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. I'm your host, Chris Kirkwood. Kirkdiese here with my main man. The main one, first of all, writes all the great content of RotoGrinders. Noto, Derek Farnsworth. How we doing, my man?
Yeah, doing good. Morning, the U.S. getting smoked in the Ryder Cup. But other than that, doing well. How are my boys?
Doing all right. What's up, Beer? How we doing? Beermakersfan, the fantasy bar.
We are doing last week, kind of like we talked about going into week 3, on a lot of the right plays. Now it's just a matter of putting it all together. So feel good about the process so far. I really like this week. I like when things are a little more condensed, and it feels like one of the weeks, bye weeks are coming, but we have 2 Monday night games. We have the game in Ireland, so it's a little more trimmed down. And I think there's some great leverage spots here, some low-owned spots. So excited to be here with you guys again and breaking down this slate with the peeps.
Nice. How'd you do, Noto, last week?
Yeah, I ended up making 5 lineups. They all cashed. So profitable week, but nothing big. Kind of sounds like, Kirk, you had some similar things, but you had a nice hit as well.
Yeah, so I smashed Yahoo. That was good. And everything. I basically smashed everything once Keenan Allen scored that late touchdown.
Yeah.
That was big for me. But it's always so. I made 2 lineups. I made one main lineup on DraftKings, which broke even, and it was in all high dollar single under stuff. And I made another lineup, and I was going to use that as my main lineup. And then I was like, don't tinker. And so I started jamming that in contests, but everything was good was filled. And then, of course, that was basically the nuts. And so I had a really good week. It could have been a phenomenal week. So that's we can complain about everything. A win's a win. So I had a good positive week, looking to roll over this week with that momentum. And sure, we're going to have a good show here, and we'll figure this slate out because pricing's a little tighter right now. And we don't have these smash plays. It seems like we have got a couple of main chalk smash plays, like one running back, one wide receiver. And so there'll be some interesting leverage points we can do. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to figure it out with you guys today. All right, what's up, chat? Don Yeezy's here. How we doing? J3, we want Dean. Come on, man. Dean has another show on Wednesday. You can go through his show without Dean today. Richie Smalls, what's up? JC. All right, we're good to go. Let me do this ad read real quick. Okay, so let's talk about Combo Pro. Are you looking to get NFL DFS access this season? Why not get more bang for your buck with this Combo Pro deal? For a limited time, you can get your first month of Combo Pro for just $79.99. That's only $5 more than the NFL DFS monthly subscription. Don't pass up this elite value. Yeah, I've got no complaints. Everything's been rolling good. The projections have been good. Scores and odds, people are crushing it. So we're having a good season over here at RotoGrinders. So join us. And we got an electric weekend this weekend. We got UFC, we got college football going on today, UFC tonight, and then obviously NFL. All right, let's do what we always do. Let's do a big picture overview first before I get into that. But so Noto, big picture overview. How's this slate looking to you?
Yeah, it's another slate where some injuries have opened things up. Maybe at the quarterback position. We're also getting Jackson Dart for cheap if you want to go that route. Mariota's drawn the start too, so it could be a good week to pay down a quarterback once again. Running back, ton of options. Wide receiver, man, I feel like I'm on different plays than the projection models, which is one of those weeks where it feels kind of iffy. If I'm right, then it's going to be a really big week. If I'm wrong, then I'm probably going to get crushed by the chalk. But yeah, I like the slate. My favorite game environment's probably going to be the Bears Raiders. I think that's probably going to be everyone's favorite, but should be a shootout there. And then yeah, just kind of monitoring a couple injuries heading into Sunday.
Nice. And we heard some of your overview thoughts, Beer, already, so I don't want to double that up. So let's just get right into it. All right, so like we do, we're going to start with the running back position. We're going to head over to quarterback, align that with our stacks to wide receiver, talk some tight ends. We're going to say a prayer for Bobby, who's not going to be with us to give us the the defensive segment that we've always known to come and love, but we'll talk some defenses. There's definitely a chalk one this week, so that'll be fun. Then we'll build a lineup for the people like we always do. Sound good, boys?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. All right, running back position. We have one super obvious play. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, just the workload is just insane for him, and he's still under 9K, 8,500. So he's like the cash play of the day. Probably a tournament play of the day too, just because of the volume. I mean, anything can happen. You can get injured, yada, 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 a lot of things. But he just has so much upside at the amount of usage he's having. If he starts getting it in the end zone, he could just really, score 45 fantasy points, and that's what you need. Great in the passing game, great rusher. Not much to say about him. Other interesting one is going to be Omarion Hampton, who's got the load now with Najee Harris going down. Problem with this one is that they've shown that they're just going to pass, which is not the Chargers that we're used to. But so that'll be interesting to talk about that as chalk. I think that could be an opportunity to get a little different. Jonathan Taylor, best rusher in the league, leading rusher, looked insane last week when he broke that like 40 yarder for a touchdown. I mean, the dude's just a beast. Good game environment there too. And then we get to talk a little bit about Cam Scatterbo, who was fun for the showdown slates last week. So that'll be interesting. Noto, who are your key personnel this week?
Yeah, so TJ is saying Bobby's baby just got here. So congrats to Bobby. Hopefully you can have some baby swag this week heading into week 4. Seems like if you have a baby, you win tournaments. That's how it works in DFS. So congrats to Bobby. As far as the running backs, I think you gave a good preview. It's kind of CMC and then everyone else. Niners still shorthanded, get to play at home against the Jags. Pretty high team total for them. We don't really need to talk about him too much. He's the clear RB1 on the slate. After that, I do like Omarion Hampton. You mentioned how often the Chargers are throwing. They are first in pass rate over expectation this season. But, Hampton saw 7 targets last week. No Najee Harris. New York Giants are 30th in EPA against the run. So it's a good matchup. It's a good expected game script. And he's not going to have a lot of competition for touches. So I do like him at 5.9. The mid-range is kind of hard for me. A lot of the projection models love James Cook, but he's a guy that plays, 50, 55% of snaps in a game where it might be over by halftime. So that one kind of worries me. Bijan and Taylor in tougher matchups. So I'm not sure what to do in the mid-range, but I do like Scatterbo at 5,500. And then I like Tony Pollard. So he's played on 90% of the snaps. Right now we have him for less than 10% ownership. Houston's been a bottom 10 run defense. I know it's hard to trust anyone on the Titans right now, but Pollard's getting all the work. Should see 20 touches in a good matchup, and I could see them pulling off the upset on the road. So he's kind of my favorite low-owned tournament play of the week.
Nice. What are you looking at, Beer?
So CMC again, we don't need to spend a ton of time. The dude's basically a wide receiver and a running back right now with all the targets he's getting. So I think there's some concerns, and not for me. Hearing some whispers, does this look different with Brock Purdy being back in the lineup? I don't think anything changes. Purdy's the guy that's going to get him the ball as well. Jennings and Pearsall being questionable, we'll talk about that, but that could take a few targets away. So he's definitely the number one. There are a few things you could, poke holes through with him, but his projection certainly pops. I'm a lot more optimistic on James Cook. I get the concerns, but their team total is about as high as my weight, so they're going to score a lot of points in this game. So even 2-3 quarters of James Cook, he may pop a couple touchdowns, go over 100 yards. He scored in every game, gone over 100 total yards in every game. So I really like him tonight. So those are or this week. Those are my 2 favorites. As far as tournament plays, I think Kyren Williams is an awesome tournament play this weekend. Everyone's excited about that game. That's probably my favorite game in the late window. We're stacking that one up a lot, but Kyren could be the guy that gets forgotten about. Puka's going to have a lot of ownership. There's going to be talk of a lot of other players in that game. So he's a great tournament option. My favorite tournament option, and Kirk, you may like this one, you may not, Ravion Henderson.
Oh, baby.
Absolutely love him this week. And I get the concerns. I get the downside. Things could look as they've looked. They may not hold it against Ramondre that he fumbled, but it was Henderson that took over in that fourth quarter. And if he gets to start, let's say he was starting this week, would he be the highest owned running back? And if we knew he was going to have a high role, I think he would. So everyone's excited about Hampton. I get that, but you guys brought up some of the concerns. The pass rate over expectation, they're throwing a lot more. They also will use multiple backs. So it's not just going to be the Amari and Hampton show. Haskins could be in there. Vidal could be called up. So have some concerns there. But I absolutely love the Travion Henderson plays cheap. Nobody's on him. It's the old get out ahead of it before everybody else sees it. So he's my favorite tournament option at running back. A couple other plays. I think Bijan Robinson at the high end is not going to see a lot of ownership. He's pretty much been game script proof. No matter what the game environment brings, he tends to put up fantasy points. So I like him as a pivot. Scatabo is probably my favorite of the kind of rookie group of Hampton, Scatabo. I like his upside. Genty was a guy I was really excited about going into the week, and then I saw the ownership, and I'm like, wow. I mean, a lot of people are on this play. If he was going to be, 2-3%, everyone's writing him off. I think it's a great play, but at this ownership, I'm happy to just skip by him this week. And then Chuba Hubbard, I think is interesting. Questionable tag, some worries there, but it's a good matchup with New England. But Travion Henderson and Kyron Williams to go tournament takes, I think are phenomenal GPP plays this weekend.
Nice. I will join you, Beer, and say that I like James Cook. I know TJ wrote him in chat too as well. So basically the key with James Cook is like the Bills need to win. And this is a pretty high likelihood that they're going to win this game, favored by 15.5 points. He has a high floor in games that they win, but he also has like ceiling where he's, gotten over 30 fantasy points. So I like him in this spot. I think it's going to be just a lot of him, and the Bills don't need to run out their passing game that much. So I'm on board with Cook. I love your Kyron Williams call too, as kind of just the leverage play of this game. I think it is what it comes down to. Puka is going to be extremely popular. Devontae Adams is getting a lot of love. Kyron is the leverage spot, and I think he absolutely could score a couple touchdowns in this spot. So like him. I don't know what to do with Janty, especially at that ownership, so I'm probably will fade that as well. I think I like the passing game in that spot. And then trying to see someone else I like. The big dog, Derrick Henry, against KC. I know he's been the fumbles, but could absolutely smash in this game too. And this is like a must win for both teams here. So big game to talk about in there. And I didn't even talk about the most plays or the snaps and pace that I usually do. I'm a little tired this morning. But I just wanted to point out that for Cardi from the most plays, he's got New Orleans, Buffalo leading the way, Chicago at the Raiders is the second, and then the Colts at the Rams. And over at ETR, the snaps and pace article, they do New Orleans at Buffalo, Chicago at Rams. So they're lockstep. Those two, they just have Baltimore, KC. So I think if you even stuck with these games, you could have some pretty good high upside lineups to go. But all right, Noto, you got any other flyers out here that look like a little bit less potentially?
There's a couple guys in chat have brought up. Quinshon Judkins got the start last week, turned 19 touches into 96 yards. Don't necessarily love the game script against Detroit, but an interesting way to get off the cheap 5K running backs. It's a great spot for KC on the ground, but I just can't trust Pacheco or Kareem Hunt when it comes to these full slates. It's like if you play one, the other one's probably going to get the work. Kareem Hunt's been getting the goal line carries. Pacheco just hasn't shown upside for almost a full season now. So I can't go there. That's pretty much it for me at running back. I probably will play some Kyron, like you guys mentioned. I like that one quite a bit. Yeah, that's it for me.
So, Pacheco, I played him in Showdown heavily. I was all excited because people in a Rutgers homecoming little narrative I had going in my head that he was going to show up, and he just did absolutely nothing. I'm sick of that situation. But once I write somebody off, like I did with Hunter Henry last week, they go,
Wait,
I'm always a week early. Yeah. I know. I said I couldn't go back there though. I said after what he did.
Tried to tell you.
Yeah. But Beer, you got any more flyers here for running
No,
back?
again, I think Henderson, it's risky for sure. But that one, I love the upside. And then Chuba Hubbard again on the other side of that game. And Kyron, interesting. I am off the Chiefs running backs. I get the thought process. I know we got that question in chat, but Brashard Smith is working in as well. So there's just not enough volume. One might pop a touchdown. That's not gonna win you a tournament. Even 2 touchdowns and say 30, 40 yards. I just think there's a lot more upside in some of these other names. So it's not the easiest position this week outside of CMC. I don't love it as much. So my pool will be pretty condensed at running back this week.
Yep. And you know what? We can just take the Chiefs leading rusher. You know
Exactly.
who that is, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
Patrick Mahomes.
We'll get to him.
Yep. All right, let's move it on over. Let's talk about him now. So I think the chalk plays of the week are going to be Drake May and Jackson Dart, potentially, at least for cash. And I think they have upside. Jackson Dart obviously has upside if you look at his preseason and the way that he just runs the ball. He also could have – it's a tough matchup against the Chargers. So, I mean, that could go poorly for you, and I wouldn't shock me at all. Could also go ham. So it sounds like he's a pretty decent tournament play. I think Russell Williams got benched. I think because he couldn't the whole game he couldn't even find a way to get any targets to Neighbors. So I think that's an easy key on. You pair Dart with Neighbors and just go from there. I think there's a lot of upside there with the rushing, and I think they're going to force feed him the ball this week. Daniel Jones is looking good. Geno Smith is looking good. I love this Chicago Raiders game, so I'm fine going back to Caleb. He took a step forward. Granted, it was the Dallas Cowboys defense, and I did say that he was on he was in my lineup that smashed was Caleb Williams. But I watched it fully. He was throwing some dimes in there, and he is always a threat to use his legs in any game. So, and it's pretty easy to pair with Rome, who's clearly the number 1 wide receiver. And there's other interesting interesting plays on both sides. So I love Caleb again this week. And then I want to hear your guys' thoughts on like Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, or even paying up for like Josh Allen. And then obviously your Mahomes take. So I'll let you lead this off, Beer.
Yeah, quarterback is loaded this week, so it's always a position. I don't think we're going to see any mega chalk here with so many options, so many different ways you can go. So you hit on a lot of the names I am looking at. The interesting part for me, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Hurts on the slate. Is it worth paying up for those 3? All phenomenal. If I'm paying up for one of them, it's probably Lamar Jackson, and we know this is an absolutely huge game for these 2 teams. One of these teams is going to go to 1-3 with a loss. So he's done well against this defense in the past. I think we'll see him be a little bit more aggressive. He seemed frustrated last week and upset. So I could see them, giving him a little bit more, put more on his plate. So he's the one out of that group that I would select and I will be rostering. I'm a little nervous about Josh Allen, kind of a flip on my James Cook take, but I don't know that the Saints push this team, and that's the worry with Josh Allen. How much does he really have to do? How much do they want to put him at risk, running the ball? So he could go out and smash. They're going to score some points. So he's in the pool, but I'm a little bit more excited about Lamar. But honestly, I think it's a good week to pay down again. My favorite is Daniel Jones. We saw another big game last week. Taylor stealing all the touchdowns, so Jones didn't have to do much. So the fantasy production wasn't there, but just looks great in this offense. Looks comfortable, looks confident. This game, I think, could see a ton of points. So, and some pretty easy stacking partners that are cheap to go along with Daniel Jones. So he's probably my favorite. Tournament-wise, I really like Brock Purdy this week. I don't think anybody's going to want to play him with all the other options in that pricing range. You mentioned Caleb and Geno are fine. I'll have some of those. But, Purdy is another guy that very easy to stack, especially if we get some clarity on Jennings, on Pearsall. You throw him in with CMC as a way to negate some of the ownership on him, add one of those receivers with him in a pretty good matchup with Jacksonville. So he's phenomenal. I really like Mahomes this week. He's cheap, like you mentioned. He is the leading rusher for this team, so been a lot more aggressive on the ground. So that one is very intriguing. Again, some good stacking partners there we'll get to. And then low and stuff, I think Jared Goff at home, anytime he's in that dome, yes, it's not a great matchup, but that team's going to put up points. And we saw it against Chicago. Yes, this Cleveland defense has been good, but I don't think they're impenetrable. So I think Goff at potentially sub 2% ownership makes for a great stack. And then Michael Penix is kind of my off the radar. They look terrible. They looked awful. Nobody's going to want to play them. That's another game indoors I think could see some points. So as you see, there's a ton of ways. I didn't even mention Geno, Caleb, Drake May. Like there's a lot of quarterbacks this week, but I think there's some phenomenal pivots. Purdy probably being my favorite, kind of in that middle range that'll see no ownership.
Yeah, I definitely interested in Jared Goff here. So no one wants to play him. It's all about what happened last week with the Cleveland D, and they're going to overlook the fact that he's at home. They have the second highest implied team total on the slate, and the Browns you can't run on really so much. So should be passing in this one, and he's got the weapons there. I think you can get a tight end play, which tight end is kind of gross this week. And I don't think Laporta is going to be very popular, but I think this is a great spot for him to pair with Goff. Obviously, you could pick Jameson or Amon-Ra St. Brown, whichever way you want to go. Probably Amon-Ra, I would think, in this spot, but pair it with Laporta, and you got yourself a nice little double stack there. So love that. Any more thoughts, Noto?
Yeah, so many good plays. My two favorites are from the Ravens and Chiefs game. Both these teams are 1-2. They both kind of going to treat this as a must-win game. Lamar Jackson, he's first in the NFL in completion rate over expectation and first in the NFL in ADOT. So he's throwing the ball deep, and he's been extremely accurate. He hasn't even had a big game on the ground yet. He's averaged 33 fantasy points in his last two meetings against the Chiefs. Then on the other side, Mahomes, we talked about it. They can't run the ball. They have the second highest pass rate over expectation this season, which is something that hasn't been the case with them for the last 5 years. And he's running the ball a ton too. So I love both those quarterbacks. I'll go back to Caleb Williams. He's treated me well so far this season. And then, I don't mind Mariota in a revenge game. I know he's going to be without McLaurin, but anytime you get him in a dome, he's got some rushing upside. I think he's interesting too.
Yes, sir. All right. Should we move it on over to wide receiver?
Yeah.
Anyone, or does anyone need to get one more play off their chest?
I will say, Gino, we got Trey Tucker, Jacoby Myers, and Brock Bowers rated out as like three of the best point per dollar receivers or wideouts on the slate. So, Gino's naturally, if his receivers are going to get there, he's probably going to get there too.
Yeah, especially if Gentry's going to be owned like this. Yeah. It's a good way to kind of flip that.
I think it's Jacoby week. Finally, we'll get there. Tucker, unbelievable how that ran out for people who won the million or whatever. Just incredible performance. All right. Puka Nacua is going to be the highest owned wide receiver for good reason. The target share is just absolutely insane. He barely, he didn't even get a touchdown, passing touchdown or receiving touchdown last week. Still had almost 26 fantasy points. Has run in this year, won the play the week before, but nothing bad to say about him. But I actually do think that Devontae Adams could beat him in this spot. So for tournaments, I'm definitely going to be lower on Puka and higher on Devontae Adams. Now, that's not that sneaky because Adams is coming in somewhat chalky too, for good reason. But I think that, some of this injury talk, missing practice, and he has had a hamstring. I think it's all baloney. They're just giving him his rest, which he needs. But I could see a lot of people being influenced and not wanting to click that name because of it. I love Jacoby Myers. I already said that. Drake London is interesting to me. Whether he's going to they just put up a complete dud last week, so It's not his fault. Has looked a little stiffer to me. I don't know when I've been watching him, but I think he's still 5,700 now that this price is there against Washington in the Dome. I think there's a lot of upside. Obviously, I love Rome again. He's just the wide receiver one. Ricky Pearsall is in play. We'll see how that injury stuff shakes out here. Malik Neighbors I already touched on, who I like. And going to pat myself on the back for the A.J. Brown last week.
Yep, good call.
He did it, and I have no problem going right back. There's been a lot of talk. I mean, that game could absolutely shoot out with Godwin back too now. No Mike Evans, of course. There are some like key line injuries, but I do think that this game could shoot out. So that's kind of where I'm looking. And then one more play. Everybody's talking Keenan Allen now. They're talking Quentin Johnson now, but I'm not sure if we finally get McConkey week for 6,500.
Love it.
So, because I mean, everybody writes these guys off after just a couple of games, right? Like, oh, Keenan, and Keenan was doing nothing. And granted, I needed Keenan. You know what I mean? I'm not just was doing absolutely nothing until that touchdown. So he got there and it was great. But I think McConkey is the way to play it this week. But who do you like, Beer?
I love the lad call. It's easy for people to look at, and Quentin Johnson's been phenomenal, no doubt. I don't think this is a fluke. That's a guy everybody wrote off as this guy's a bust, and he started to flash towards the end of last season. So honestly, I think you could play any of those guys. I think that's something we didn't mention at the quarterback position. If Hampton's going to be very popular, building those Herbert doubles, and you can use any of these three guys. But Ladd being more expensive, the lower owned. The Giants have been horrible against slot receivers this season, so I think that's a great tournament play. So you named a lot of the names, so I won't spend a ton of time. Puka, I think McCaffrey Puka is going to be a starting point for a lot of people. So keep that in mind in your tournament builds. That's going to be a lot of ownership on two guys. Cash games, I definitely think those are your two starting points. Love the Adams call. Put him in the six-pack this week. Not going to be low owned, but a lot less owned than Puka with a lot of upside. I think they've left some meat on the bone with Devontae Adams and some of the numbers behind his start to the year. Deebo Samuel, a guy I really like this week. No Terry McLaurin. Would have liked it more with Daniels, but I think they're going to have to be pushed a little bit more this week. Mariota kind of had it pretty easy last week, and Deebo, a guy they're going to utilize so many different ways. So he should be low owned this week. I like the Niners guys, depending on who's healthy. Love the Rome Odunze call. The Philly guys are interesting, as you mentioned. So a couple other names didn't talk about yet. Michael Pittman in this matchup. I love the pairing of Jones and Pittman. That game should see some points. I don't love Taylor. Did good for me last week. Beast of the week in the video. But this week we are going to the Colts passing game. So Pittman stands out. A.D. Mitchell stands out on that same team, just 3,100 with no Alec Pierce. He should play a full-time role. He's starting to gain some steam. Was lower owned to begin the week. Now it's starting to trend up a little bit, but he's a phenomenal value. As far as low owned plays, that Ravens-Chiefs game, I think Bolt Xavier Worthy, nobody's going to want to play. It's the old wait-and-see approach. He should probably be under 5% owned, and we know the upside there. Zay Flowers. Everyone was crowning this guy. Best receiver ever. He's the greatest and has one down week, and now nobody wants to play him. So I think those two guys are intriguing. Jamison Williams, big-time upside, as we mentioned, with Goff. And then one kind of boring, nobody wants to play, but can rack up points, especially on DraftKings, Hunter Renfrow of Carolina. I think it's a great value. Leggett out this week. We have McMillan questionable, so that Patriots D is no shutdown D. So Hunter Renfrow, not exciting, but I think he's a good DraftKings value play this week.
They do get Rodriguez back, or Gonzalez back. I mean, Noto, who are you liking?
I was gonna say Bobby's on the Pats D, I bet, this week. This is what I'm hoping. But yeah, so a lot of good plays that. Wide receiver, love that Beer brought up. A.D. Mitchell, a guy that really high on this week. He's 3.1K on DraftKings. I think He helps a lot of lineups work. And when we've seen with Alec Pierce out, it's not a big boost to Josh Downs. It ends up being a big boost to Donnie Mitchell. He's going to be playing outside. I'm interested in the Niners receivers. So right now, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, both questionable. They both got in limited practices on Friday. Pearsall said he could suit up as of Friday. So he's going to be active, I think. And Jaguars have just been terrible against the pass. They gave up those massive games to Jamar Chase, massive game to Nico Collins last week, who, we talked about quite a bit on the show. And then a couple other guys that I like. You guys mentioned Rome Odunze. I think that's an interesting one. Chris Olave's target share, air yard share has just been massive all season. It's a game where they're going to be trailing, and garbage time production means just as much as regular production. So I like him in tournaments. And then a guy that I just always click on, Jerry Jeudy. I have a problem, but 4,900 in the Dome against Detroit, where they're going to be throwing a bunch. And the tight ends are going to be pretty chalky. So I kind of like Jerry Jeudy as a way to get off of Njoku and Fannin.
Yeah, I meant to bring up Olave. The target share and expected fantasy points are up there. Great role. Only problem is bad quarterback, but they're going to need to be passing from the get-go. And only other issue for me I see is that he's got his own chair in the medical tent that's just waiting for him. So always a little scared with
like an express lane, they get him in, get him out.
Yeah.
Reserved. It's got his name on it and everything.
It's got
like
a couple
Hollywood
bottles,
chairs,
some painkillers, and whatever.
Yeah, one of them Hollywood chairs that says Olave on the back.
Yep. All right. So I like Pittman. Also, what you guys mentioned. I'm trying to think, and I'm really starting to sell myself more and more on Ladd McConkey. So that's probably going to be where I plant my flag this week.
I wish he was a grand cheaper because he would still have no ownership.
Yeah, it would be the exact same thing. I know it's ridiculous. It's because he had such high expectations coming in. It was like the best ball darling. All right, let's move it on over to tight end. There's some interesting scenarios to talk about here at this position. Tyler Warren is like the role is just great. Should be a somewhat competitive game environment. So I get that. Hunter Henry. It's like if I go back, he's going to bust. If I don't play him, he's going to go off. But he is, I at least feel a little vindicated. I knew that he is the number one option and should be the number one option for May here. But yeah, he's so cheap. There's it's such a good matchup against Carolina. There's so much potential red zone equity with him. I like him. Brock Bowers. Not hard to get at 5,800. And if this was the guy that we were so confident in last season, then he'd be an absolute smash. He is banged up, but Mayer being out, it's such a good spot. And you would think that, maybe he isn't that hurt this week. So I think there's massive upside there. Could go wrong, but I think the popular cash play for cheap is going to be Brenton Strange for Jacksonville. Hasn't found the end zone, but getting a lot of good targets here. Cheap, went for 61 yards on 7 targets, 6 catches last week. So he'll be popular. And then we've got some other plays that I'm sure you guys will mention. So I'll let you start it off, Noto.
Yeah, I only like 3 guys this week, and Brock Bowers for me is going to be a priority. You mentioned Michael Mayer being out. I think that's big. Then if you look at his usage, it's gone up each of the first 3 weeks, and everyone was concerned about his usage in the preseason with Chip Kelly's new offense, but he's played on 79 and 88% of the dropbacks the last 2 games. He gives you leverage off of Jane T, who's going to be popular, gives you access to that game that's going to shoot out, and then he's not going to be popular, like the most talented tight end in the NFL. I think this is the spot to load up on Brock Bowers. I like Tyler Warren, just gives you access to that Colts-Rams game. Might see a couple more targets in that one with Alec Pierce out. And then Juwan Johnson, until something happens and he stops crushing, I'll continue to play him in a game where they're going to be trailing against the Bills.
I need TJ to send that Pacino Scarface gif when they're counting the money and have some sort of Juwan Johnson to you and TJ back to each other. Beer, who you liking?
Yeah, I'm with Noto. It's kind of a ugly position this week, and I think you mentioned that as well. I think Tyler Warren is the best play at price, but that's going to reflect in the ownership. So, I'm fine using him in some tournament builds, but feels more of the cash game tight end. So I think there's some great pivots here. I'm going to join you guys on the Brock Bowers love. I think it's a great play this week. Price is not difficult to get to. Ownership is much lower than I thought it would be here. So he's a phenomenal play here this week. So I like him. I agree on Juwan Johnson. This guy just gets no love. I mean, I'm looking at ownership on him, and it's still 3% for a team that's going to throw the entire game. They're going to pass. So Olave, Juwan, back in play here once again. Travis Kelce. I know it's been ugly, but this is a huge game. So even with Worthy back, that may take away some of the defensive attention. I think he's in play more so in a stack. If you're going with Mahomes, a Mahomes Worthy and Kelce, I think is interesting. So he's in the player pool, and a couple guys that are cheap, that are gross, but I think have some potential value this week for tournaments. First one is Cole Kmet of Chicago. No Colston Loveland this week, so he should be playing a full-time role in a game we love. So that's a piece you can add to Caleb Williams, add to Rome, and a way to lower your ownership lineup percentage there. And then Oronde Gadsden. This may be a flash in the pan, but this guy looks like the best pass catcher from that tight end group. Looks athletic, big, strong guy. So he is super cheap. And if the Chargers are going to continue to pass, he's interesting. But Kmet, interesting play down low. Bowers up top. And then I think Kelce in the middle is very intriguing.
Those were my two plays that I was waiting to chime in on, was Cole Kmet and then Gadsden. So love them both. Kmet did find the end zone last week. Hasn't seen much volume, but we do love this game environment. He could be the only tight end weapon there. So like that, and I like that he's 2,600 for Gadsden if you need it on a week if you're trying to jam some Puka and McCaffrey, and then you want some more, maybe Jonathan Taylor you're trying to get in there too. All right. Trying to think if there's another flyer. I guess those are my whole pool has been mentioned. So all righty, let's talk about defense. There's going to be one chalk defense, best defensive line ranked in the game right now is the Texans, and they get to go against Cam Ward in Tennessee. So 3,400 coming out in a lot of optimals. So they're going to be quite popular. But then the other side, you go the other side of that game if you need to save the money with the Titans. Certainly could do it. The Falcons against Mariota, they should obviously know all of Mariota's strengths and weaknesses. And in the dome there, they could be up for that game. So I like that. And then, no one's talking about the Eagles. Certainly 3K against Tampa and a kind of a dinged up Baker Mayfield. So I like that. And with Gonzalez back, the Patriots, I think, look pretty good. And if Bobby's on him on baby week, then I'm going to have to join him for a little bit here. But what are you thinking, Beer?
I think Buffalo is very intriguing. Normally we want to go cheap, but I think they're going to go completely overlooked as a team that's going to be playing likely from way ahead. That's just going to unleash, these pass rushers, and they haven't been the best defense in the world, but Spencer Rattler in this environment on the road, having to throw a ton. I just think turnovers could be plentiful there. So Cook and Buffalo pairing, or even just spending up to be different, I think they're very low and with a lot of upside. I really like the Chargers. Everyone's excited about Jackson Dart. He may go out and kill it, but he may go out and look like a rookie that's not ready either. And what I really like, he's going to be aggressive. This isn't going to be a rookie that's just coming in and checking the ball down. And an aggressive rookie trying to prove himself against a pretty good defense. I think the Chargers are a phenomenal play this week as well. And then I like both sides of that New England-Carolina team. I mean, both of those teams rank behind the Bengals so far this season. They each have 6 turnovers on the season. So Patriots likely more popular, but I think Carolina could be a cheap defense here. Looked great last week against Atlanta as well. That game is where I'm going for my cheap defenses.
Some good news for that game just dropped on your side. Shefty just tweeted out Hubbard and McMillan he expects them both to play. So could help the game environment. Who do you like, Noto?
Yeah, I'm hoping this week is not like last week where half the defenses end up scoring touchdowns. Can we just get rid of defense? Bring back kickers.
Yes.
I would rather have a kicker than a defense. But
the Vikings were so
especially
annoying.
when these guys are kicking 60-yard field goals at will right now. I mean, like this is like prime kicker.
Yeah,
season.
At least feels like there's some strategy to the kicker. But at the very top, I like the Lions against Joe Flacco. I don't know. I love Flacco, but he's going to throw a couple picks in this one. You mentioned the Patriots with Gonzalez back. I like that against Bryce Young. And then if I'm saving, I'm going to go with the Titans. I'm going to pair him up with Tony Pollard. I think that's a very interesting pairing for tournaments. 2,300 against the Texans. I wouldn't be picking the Houston Texans in Survivor this week. Just got a feeling Titans with the upset on the road.
Gives me the Green Bay feeling that killed everybody. All right, let's build a lineup here. Who's got I'll let you guys lead the way we'll start with quarterback. Who has a strong feeling?
TJ does.
I have a strong feeling on Daniel Jones.
All right. Daniel Jones we go. Who is TJ's strong feeling? Chime in.
I'm sure he's got a strong feeling there.
Throwing in a Donnie Mitchell with Daniel Jones is my strong feeling to add to this. I love playing some AD Mitchell and Daniel Jones together this week.
Well, we're gonna have a lot of salary then.
Love it. Bring back with Puka or Devontae.
Or both.
My hot take is both, but that might be too much for this. But I'm playing
even Kyron here.
Daniel Jones lineup. No Stafford. I'm playing Puka and Adams as double run backs.
Or Kyron.
Yeah, let's go Kyron. And let's take the cheaper one. Let's take Adams. Oh, unless we're gonna have to spend this money somewhere.
Well, I think we're different enough to throw McCaffrey in now.
Yep.
You guys both very high on AJ Brown. I think that is interesting here.
So are we going to need someone else from that game?
That's where it's tough. I mean, the Tampa Bay side, I don't love anybody. I mean, you can make a case for Godwin, but is he limited? You can make a case for Sterling Shepard playing a bigger role. Abuka, nobody's going to want to play at this price. Nothing I really love on the Tampa side. I think they're great plays. It's just they're not jumping out.
No. Give me a strong play here.
I mean, either of the Niners receiver. Oh, we already have McCaffrey, I guess.
There you go. Cook, does that get us? No, don't love Cook, though. So
it's not I don't like him.
What
if he doesn't get the early touchdowns, it scares me.
What if we just go with Kyron and really go overweight on that game? What does that look like?
Already have Kyron in there.
That's right. Thanks, TJ.
So what do we got? How much? Yeah, so we're going to use the double stack Warren for the...
Get Bowers in there, double tight end.
Oh, my God. Yeah. How fast can we throw this money away?
It's kind of gross.
Let's do it. What are we looking at for salary, TJ?
36, it looks like.
All right. Well, so you don't have to do Bowers, but we can do it. We can leave that spot. But let's keep it. All right. So gross to me that it's going to win. That's a winner.
It's Bowers week.
All right. I'm trying to get this down so I actually enter it.
For those listening in podcast form, team is Daniel Jones, Kyron Williams, Christian McCaffrey, AD Mitchell, Devontae Adams, AJ Brown, Tyler Warren, Brock Bowers with the defense of your choice.
And the only
Sounds good.
super high on play here is McCaffrey. Everybody else is under 20%. We got a couple sub 10%ers in there. I think it's a good mix.
Just hope they pick the right defense. Last week it was like Oprah. Like, you get a touch. Just started out like every defense I didn't have was like, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. I'm sitting here.
The Vikings were super annoying last week. Like, if you didn't have the Vikings, it was and they had 30 DraftKings points in the first half. Like, that was a wrap. So it's fun when you have it. They were annoying when you don't have it.
To pair with Jordan Mason, but unfortunately he was my one running back fade, so therefore I didn't even get to him. All right. Are we good? Any last final words for the people? Noto?
No, it should be a fun week. It's one of those weeks where you can go so many different directions. So don't feel forced to, get the chalk in there if you like something different.
Beer.
I agree. Fun week. Many great plays that are going to go overlooked this week. So just build a little bit differently, and I think you're going to do great. So appreciate everybody for tuning in as always, and best of luck here in week 4.
Yep, and give us some positive comments if you want to comment. If you have some negatives, don't even bother, please. But we'd love to hear your comments. I do check them every week. I know Noto checks them too. Beer, you check them?
I do not.
Well, you're going to be now. Everybody give comments for Beer. Talk about his plays. He'll get back in there. Have a profitable week. Let's keep it rolling here. I think we're getting into the swing of things. Play some UFC. Go into the RotoGrinders Discord before UFC. I'll be hanging out in there, talking my bets and my plays in there. So come check that out. And this has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes Podcast Week 4 edition, and we'll catch you again next week. Thanks.